Welcome to the VIDE Department of Education's 2020-2021 Parent and Community Educational Conference. Research has shown that parental involvement is a key factor in student achievement and students' overall success in life. It is also known to be true that parents tend to participate more in their child's education when they know how and when they feel knowledgeable and equipped with the tools to do so. With this in mind, the VI Department of Education has provided professional development for parents over the years, and we are pleased to continue providing this important and necessary support. What's new at the department, however, is the professional development we are providing for the VI community. This change is due to the fact that successful school systems have strong, positive, and consistent community support. And with this goal of rebuilding the community's trust in the Virgin Islands public education system, I am delighted to bring this educational conference to you. Your participation in today's conference will help to transform our public education system. I look forward to hearing about your experience today and the areas of the VI public education system you would like to learn more about. Remember, together we can transform public education in the Virgin Islands. Enjoy today's session.
Educational opportunities for our students. We assist students who are facing barriers to learning educational and developmental potential through strategies and specialized programs. Secondly, students services individual needs of students with diverse backgrounds. We all will agree that the Virgin Islands, we are a melting pot with unique needs. So, who are Virgin Islands Department of Education students? 4 groups of employees make up the Virgin Islands Student Services staff. We have our school nurses, we have the registrars, professional school counselors. Next screen. Next slide. School nurses support student success by providing health care through virtual assessment, intervention, and following up for students. A lot of concern in the community right now as it relates to the health and care and safety of everyone around us. Now that we interact with our students virtually, some concerns still arise. How are we going to meet of our students? Our school nurses are there to provide those services. These are things that lend to the stresses of life. Our of nursing licensure. They are qualified to manage the health and safety of the entire school community, and they provide care. They are guided by the Virgin Islands Department of Health and the Center of Disease Control to ensure that the health and safety of students are adopted. Next slide. They also control and maintain our school record. In terms of confidentiality, our school nurses maintain students' school records, and they ensure that the confidentiality 4 walls of their office. They monitor health screening protocol. They collaborate with stakeholders at a Virgin Islands and Human Services. They also assist our children with pre-existing health issues and conditions, and they provide guidance for our students. In addition to providing guidance for our students and our parents, they educate the faculty, the staff, physical education, health, and the counseling program. Next slide. Now our registrars. The registration of students coming into our school system and also maintaining students' records. Processes not only on the school level, but at the district level. Every student that attends a public school registration division. So the role of the district registration division is to register students in the United States, to register students who may have probably withdrawn and relocated or transferred to a private school. And if the parents must go through the district office. Once all that process is done, all the records are turned over to the assigned school. So the students' admission and graduation process, they usually organize students' records and ensure that student records are updated. The registrars usually take care of the graduation process in terms of ensuring that students' records guidelines for graduation. If there's a need to get a letter or a verification for probably tax purposes or housing purposes. And finally, the withdrawal process also takes place at a school level through the school registrar. If you have that child from the public school system, you must go through the school registrar, who will start the process, the paperwork. If you have any, let all these, unless these obligations are taken care of. Now, during the summer, when school is closed, if you wish to withdraw, you will have to go through the district office. However, if you have obligations, we will not be able to complete that registration process. Transfer, if you need a transcript during the school year, you get that transcript from the school registrar to the district office to request a transcript. Next slide. Now, spoke about the registrars. Now, our attendance counselors. Our attendance counselors support student success by identifying tardiness and ensuring that parents and students are aware of the importance of regular attendance and recommend solution attendance. Now, the law dictates that once, if your child is between the ages of 5 and 18, they must be in school, whether it's a public must be enrolled in a school. And in some cases, we have homeschool, but they must be enrolled in attendance is critical. I'm just sharing with you some statistics here that shows that students with excellent attendance, students who are chronically absent, they read 2 levels below grade level. They read. Students with excellent attendance, 92% can read at grade level. Students who are chronic at grade level. Students with excellent attendance, 88% can do math at grade. Only 79% can do math at their grade level. And finally, students with excellent attendance on year-end math assessment. The average at 83% on the year-end assessment, whereas our chronically absence to year-end assessment. So here we see that attendance is critical in order for your child to succeed. Next slide. Attendance counselors, they have multiple roles. I know there have been a lot of concern for students. The attendance counselor, they review and the records of our students, bring it to the attention, they get in contact with the parents by mail or by email or by telephone. And they in their child's attendance. They assist in directing parents to the appropriate resources or agencies. And they also work very, very closely with the school counselors, with the administrators, with the nurses, and with the school psychologists of the students' attendance. Next slide. And make referrals when appropriate. The Department of Human Services as it relates to attendance and the VI code, which states, as I mentioned, child is between the ages of 5 and 18, they must attend school. If your child is not attending school, they will have to make agencies. And parents are fined if they are not, if their child is not, the parent is held responsible, basically. Next slide. And usually the police department has to be contacted, human services, and the police department has to be contacted. Okay, now we're going to speak about our professional school counselors. Parents, the general Department of Education staff often wonder what the school counselors do on a daily basis. They in high school, I remember the counselors handing out college applications, they made schedules changes, and they basically wait for a crisis. Today, counselors are a vital member of the educational team. Professional school counselors, they support student academic support, college and career guidance and support, and social emotion. Next slide. So who are school counselors? Guided by American School Counselor Association, ethical and professional standards. And this is a national educators, and they must earn at least a master's degree in school counseling. The ideal is approximately 250 students to one counselor, according to the American. However, most of the counselors in the Virgin Islands Department of Education, they are assigned between 200 and 400 of the school counselor. We have them, I'm going to just go through the bullets here on the screen. The school academic planning and goal setting. They basically have to meet the Board of Education mandates and individual meetings with students, establishing an educational plan with the students, and try to discuss with the students. The plan that I spoke about is basically doing a career assessment, and based on the career assessment, mapping out the classes that are necessary in order for the students to meet that educational or career goal. They also provide classes looking at the students' personal skills and interests, and through school and community activities, and they develop long-term. Counselors provide short-term counseling to students. All the school counselors do not schools, they do provide a school counseling program that meet the development need of all students through short-term counseling. Of concerns needing intervention, and they provide guidance and support. If the intervention is beyond their scope of long-term support, that brings us to our fourth role of the counselor. They make referral to long-term support. Respond to the needs of mental health and behavioral prevention. School counselors, they are prepared to address barriers and minimum intervention until the student is connected with available community resources or long-term resource, or collaborate with all stakeholders, which may be families, administrators, community agencies. In order, next, the counselors, they advocate for students. We have many students in our system who have special needs, and our counselors advocate for these, receiving the assistance that they need, the modifications that they need. It may not have a special need in terms of special education need, but it may be sickle cell or asthma or some kind of medical condition that prevents them from being able. Counselors advocate for our students with these plans, and we call it a 504 plan. So if parents, if you have a child who have some kind of medical, probably attending class on a regular basis because they have sickle cell crisis and they're in the hospital frequently, or they have severe asthma attack, that your child receive the service that's needed. And finally, the counselor analyzes data to determine and identify challenges. Now let's talk a little bit about who employed at all levels of education are employed at all levels. We have elementary teachers, we have we have elementary counselors, we have middle and counselors. Next slide, please. Let's talk about our elementary school counselors. This is impressionable age, the little tiny time. Before being a part of the educational system, before entering the kindergarten and the first grade, everything is from elementary school. Everything is teacher. But mommy, teacher said this. But mommy, no, you're wrong. Teacher said this. No teacher. So at this point, the attitude towards school, self, and the peers and social groups and families are developed. So that's why they're so into their approach to social emotional support. The counselors provide skills that students need to acquire in academic, which serves as a foundation for our students. Next slide. Junior high school, middle school students professional school counsel. We find that in this age, this is usually students between grade and the 8th grade. In some cases, it's between 6th grade and 8th grade. And during this time, we call this time the puberty or the pre-adolescence time, the early adolescence time. During this time, as students mature, their social and emotional development are affected. Adults may notice family members, the way that they interact with their friends, and the way that they interact with their peers. You may find that students more often increase, and their moods are so unpredictable. Their hormones are going crazy. These social changes that your child is forming an independent identity, and they're learning how to be an adult. So we have to be a little patient with them, express emotions in a grown-up way. So as a result of this, a lot of time they act up, and we find that the intervention process becomes our middle school counselors and also the high school counselors, because we have some late bloomers. So some of the strategies that are used for the middle school or high school are the counselors actually try to understand where the behavior is coming from. And then the counselor try to set goals for the students. They use positive strategies when dealing with the student intervention support, which is a PBIS program in the Department of Education, which actually is an evidence-based students' behaviors. So the PBIS, it usually gives incentives for students with good behavior. I know there are some schools in the district have a PBIS class. And this PBIS class, it's actually, we target those high-risk students. Students want to reach them before we lose them. And this class gives the students an opportunity to exhibit positive behaviors and even incentives. And we also have the alternative program in both districts. Next slide. Okay, now our high school counselors. Our high school counselors, these students are with 12th grade. And the most common problem that we have with students in the upper grades, it relates to school, childhood illness that probably continues to adolescence, mental health, infectious disease, and substance abuse. So what's going on in terms of the child's development? The students get a separation from parents, and they're trying to find their own independence. So you find that they are searching for a place from their peers. They need to be, they need assistance in managing and responding to G. And I have to mention this because a lot of the conflicts that we have on the high school level is connected. I want to say probably like over on the high school level, it's connected with technology. So they need assistance in managing and responding to the challenges of using technologies safely. They also need advisement in navigating academic, peer, and personal with our high schoolers. They not only have that change in their maturing, so all the changes that's going on with their body, then they have graduation requirements. They got to deal with what am I going to be doing after I graduate from high school? Am I going to be able to get into a college? Am I going to have? So all these pressures that's associated with adolescence, the latter part, it affects our students. Our guidance with college admission, scholarship, and financial aid application process, and about entering into the workplace or going into this approach on the high school level is, as I mentioned before, very similar to the middle school. They try to understand what is triggering this behavior. Let me help our students set some goals and use positive strategies when dealing with them. And then they also coordinate assessment, because we're trying to prepare our student for post-secondary. In a lot of cases, our students going into college, and they have to take all the military, and in some cases, if they're going into post-secondary, college or trade school, they may have to take the SAT. The achievers, they take the AP exam. Next slide. So in a nutshell, student success by implementing a comprehensive school counseling program. Let me say that again. Our school counseling team, a comprehensive school counseling program. What is a comprehensive school counseling program? It allows students three domains of development: our academic development, our college and career development. And these are the three domains that all our students encounter: academic, college, career, and social emotional. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, this slide. Our academic, sorry, go back to the slide before. Our academic development support is the academic development of students, which means identifying the social emotional issues that kind of get into the way and obstruct learning, on issues that may get into the way and may impede their ability to improve and be productive in the classroom. It's not because they are not smart enough. It's because there are some underlying issues that they're experiencing. It may be a situation where a parent or a loved one years ago and that was never addressed. So they may be trying to deal with grief issues. It may be a situation they don't establish study skills. So it may be working with these students to establish those study skills. It may be that what's going to happen after high school, the many stresses of life. We try to work with the students to active in the classroom by addressing these stresses of life. Although our counselors are in the public school, I call them superheroes. Our counselors are superheroes in our public schools, but they also realize their limitations. They are not therapy in all areas. So we collaborate with community agencies and make referrals in order to support professionals, which is his family. Next slide. Okay, the second domain is career and college development. Counselors, so they coordinate a comprehensive career development program to expose students to the world of work. Realize achievement connects with career preparation, the more successful they'll be in school. If they understand why their hand because you need it in order to be an accountant. So if they can connect school with work, they'll be much more successful. They may eventually decide to go to college, but even though they may decide to go to college, we still have some careers that are very fulfilling, and various activities and career assessment that are done in order for us as counselors to help students to refine the career that they may really be successful in. I know in the elementary level, they have career day. Sometime in middle school, they have career day. High school, there are interest inventory and skill assessment to help counselors to assist students with identifying simple assessment. It may ask simple life questions like, do you like to sing? Do you like to dance? And based on their responses to these questions, them to identify, and there are different tools on the internet that are used to help students. They also advise students to take challenging courses of study, such as honors classes, advanced placement classes that are taken on the high school level, where the students have an ad. So these classes are taught by our teachers in the Department of Education, very qualified teachers. And once their score is 3, 4, or 5, they can automatically earn college credits. So these are opportunities that are for students by the counselors to the students. We also have career and technical education programs that their career interests, of course, and we have on-the-job training. Students have an opportunity to go out in the public and get connected with a job that they may job for American graduates, where students again can connect with a career that they may have an interest and be able to be out. Next slide. Finally, we have the social and emotional support. Kind of gives us a good idea as to, it identifies the social emotional stages of students that students encounter. And this is, now if you look at the bottom of the pyramid, which is all our students experience social and we do social all our students. The counselors provide support for the entire population by promoting healthy behavior and social skills for students. The second tier, tier 2, we have emotional problems and concern, which provide support for students exhibiting risky behavior or students who have school-related in classes, whether they're acting up in classes, whether they are not turning on their camera during the virtual learning when asked by teachers. So when you see students acting up like this, there's usually an underlying issue that's going on. And once again, once we identify these students, then we try to see how we can help. And this is just some students, it's not all students. And then on tier 3 and mental illness, which very few students fall in this category. And the counselors provide support for students requiring clinical, on the top of the pyramid, our students who are suffering from some form of mental illness. We are there to support and to connect them for an agent to an agent to help this area. Counselors closely monitor the changes in students' behavior, their mood, their grades, and their raised intervention always takes place. Next screen. Now the VIDE department, positive well-being and the impact of educational success. And as such, we have partnered with community organizations and mental health needs. School counselors, they are not clinicians, nor are they therapists. But they are prepared to respond to students' mental health needs, and they are prepared to assist students and families. We have partnered with community organizations or mental health service providers, and we have an excellent rapport with our scope of work is beyond that of a counselor. Right here on the screen, you'll see a list of community providers, referral agencies. We have the government agencies, Department of Health, Department of Mental Health. We have Human Services. We have because usually if we cannot get Human Services, we must report. And we have these agencies, the private practice therapy agencies and the clinical therapists. There are a list of agencies. We are stronger together, and once we work together, we can make a difference in the lives of our students. We just want to thank you again for the opportunity to share with you the support students and parents. Mrs. Rena Francis and I are in your respective districts, and we are available and will contact us. Next slide, please. Our contact information are listed below. In the St. Croix district, once again, district, we have Mrs. Rona Pini-Simon. Thank you for attending the Virgin Islands Department of Education 2020-2021 Parent to improve the program and service at the Virgin Islands Department of Education that are specific to you, your participation, and your feedback. Your mic is muted.
I over here just talking away. Thank you, Ms. Pini-Simon, for an amazing presentation. Now we're going to move on to our question and answer segment. If you're participating via the Zoom call, you can either use the raise hand feature and we'll call on you to ask your question, or you could just post it in the chat on the Zoom call. If you're participating via Facebook, you can post your questions in the chat. If you would like to join the Zoom call, the link is in the Facebook chat, so you can join the call. So let me just scroll through the Facebook feed and see if we have any questions. I'm not seeing anything on Facebook. And I'm not seeing anything on Zoom either. So let us move forward to our poll. So for our callers on the Zoom call, you're going to see a poll appearing on your screen. Go ahead and answer the questions and hit submit. We really value your input, so go ahead and take the time to complete that survey. If you're watching on Facebook and you'd like to participate in the poll, you would just need to join the Zoom call in order to do so. So click on that link that's in the chat on Facebook and it'll drop you right into the Zoom call. So we're gonna give you folks a couple moments to fill out the survey. All right, we have 60 seconds left before the poll closes. So if you haven't submitted your responses, please do so now. I do have a question coming up on Facebook if you want to answer that while folks are completing the poll. Our question is, if I as a parent want my child to receive services, mental health services through the school, what should I do?
Can you repeat? I didn't hear. You break up a little bit.
So a parent is asking if they want their child to receive mental health services through the school, what would that process be? Who would they contact?
Okay. Our counselors are not clinicians. They're not therapy service for our students. If we have students that need mental, and it depends on the severity of the mental condition too. If it's just, if an assessment is done and they realize that the child needs additional intervention, a referral is made. If you think that your child needs to talk to someone, a good place to start is with the school counselor. So you need to find out who the school, make contact with that person and see if they can provide, make an assessment. Just get connected with your child and see what's going on. Young people, and sometimes they don't talk about it. Sometimes they're not comfortable sharing with adults because they feel like adults counselors in our educational system, and they know when to detect students who may need that extra intervention. Referral, they will either make contact with a private clinician and see if the parent can connect with that private agency.
Good day, parents. Thank you for joining us today. We hope you found the information valuable to understanding the VIDE's functions and beneficial to your ease of engagement with the Department of Education. You may access this information anytime by visiting vide.vi and clicking on the For Families tab. Thank you.